everybody, Cryptic Homemaker here. For Christmas, I ended up getting a book on baking, and one of the recipes is a red velvet rose cake. And I thought in honor of Valentine's Day that I would try it out. It doesn't quite go as planned, but I certainly did my best. Let's get into it. First up, make sure to set your oven to 350 degrees and then separate 4 egg whites from the yolk. Keeping the whites, you then add 2.5 tablespoons of liquid red food coloring and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I will say, I used less food coloring than the recipe says because in the asterisk, it says to be careful not to add too much, and basically the amount would have been the entire bottle, so I thought it would be going too far. Granted, I was wrong. In a separate bowl, combine together 1.25 teaspoons unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 tablespoon and 2 teaspoons baking powder, 3/4 fine sea salt, and 2.5 cups of bleached cake flour, or in my case, bleached all-purpose flour because I couldn't get my hands on the cake flour. Next, in a stand mixer with the beater attachment, start beating 1.25 cups of superfine sugar, 5 tablespoons of butter, and 1/3 cup canola oil together on medium speed for 2 minutes. 3/4 cups and 1 tablespoon of buttermilk go into the bowl next, along with the flour mixture. Beat this until all dry ingredients are moist and then beat on medium-high for 1.5 minutes. Add in 2 parts to the batter, being beat on medium speed for 30 seconds each time. Now that the batter is complete, spatula it out into a buttered or oiled spray pan of your choosing. In my case, I picked this blue pan that was a part of my grandmother's baking collection. It's the closest thing I have to the rose pan that the book calls for. The cake then goes into the oven for 45 to 55 minutes. It ended up being 45 in my own oven. Now, here's where things went wrong. As you can see, the cake didn't come out as one, and what didn't break off was stuck to the pan. Later on, my dad recommended that next time, I do something like spray the pan and then lightly flour it to help with the sticking. But with no real way of saving this cake, I decided to go the cake pop route. I removed all of the cake and used forks to begin breaking it up. Thankfully, I originally planned on having cream cheese frosting on the cake, so I had all the ingredients on hand to make a frosting that will then mix with the cake. I almost had the right amount of frosting, but a little bit of the cake mixture didn't get combined as well as I would have wanted, meaning not all of the balls formed as nicely. Speaking of making these into balls, I ended up making 21 of them, each weighing 1.5 ounces. Now with sticks, I take the balls out of the fridge and start to re-roll them again to give them a better shape. And here's the issue with that. I cannot, for the life of me, get a ball shape. I worked in a candy store for about a year, and part of the job was rolling truffles. They had to be perfect balls, and apparently, my hands just can't form them right. Not even to mention the fact that my body temperature is too hot for chocolate. I would literally melt the truffles between my hands. These cake pops ended up looking more like the chocolate-covered creams we used to make at the shop, which had more of a flat top and bottom look, which were far easier to roll. When I placed my grocery order, I had 2 different kinds of candy melts on the list, as well as Valentine sprinkles, and they were all out of them. Thankfully, I had chocolate chips on the list for something different, so I ended up using them for these cake pops. Not exactly what I wanted, but it'll work. I don't have my flash here, but at first this is what I did. I ended up cutting the sticks and using like cookie resting sheet and don't know what this is called to try and get them to stay up. And it worked in theory. It worked when I first tried it, but then they started falling all over each other. Didn't work out. So I ended up doing this, which is what we did at the candy shop. So I should have done to begin with, but I really didn't want that flat bottom. And at some point I was running out of chocolate, so I just tried to get as much as possible on, so at least there was some chocolate on these guys. With them all nice and finished, I'm going to ask my boyfriend Brandon to come out and try them with me. Hello.
Hi. I see you have cake pops, and it is definitely 100% Valentine's Day right
100%.
now. For sure.
100%.
Yeah. We've had wonderful days of merriment and celebration, and now to end it, to round the day off, we have these beautiful looking cake pops that she has so graciously bestowed upon our relationship on this day.
Go for it. Try one.
So I'm going to try one of these pops of the cake variety. So first impressions, it doesn't look 100% even like you would imagine.
No, because I talked about it in my video, how even at the candy shop, I could not make truffles circular for the life of me. I couldn't. So I didn't try to anymore after the first couple.
Well, it's got a rustic charm.
It
that's
does,
for sure.
certainly.
All right, I'm gonna give it a shot. Is the chocolate any kind of special chocolate? Is there
Semi-sweet.
semi-sweet? Just what are they called? No, not
Chips?
Chips, chocolate chips. Yeah. And the cake on the inside.
Red velvet.
Red velvet.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I'm aware, you make cake pops with like mixed cake with frosting. What kind of frosting did you use?
Cream cheese.
Oh, cream cheese and red velvet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You gave me the way bigger one. Normal for our relationship.
So the first thing you get is the half an inch of chocolate on the outside that you have to bite through.
Mm-hmm.
After which it loses most of its structural integrity, but that's fine. So after you get past the chocolate, I do taste some cake in there. It's mostly the cream cheese frosting, though, I think.
The cake, I didn't like it. I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm sure normal red velvet cake you get at the stores is probably super artificial. And this recipe it called for very little vanilla and very little chocolate. So it's just kind of almost just a white cake to me. The only real saving grace is the frosting and the chocolate. So I'm not super impressed, but that just means I'm going to find another recipe at some point to try out.
Yeah, the only flavor I get from the cake is just the texture of it coming through. Mm-hmm. Mostly it's just kind of cream cheese frosting that has the texture of a cake.
I didn't even have enough frosting.
Chocolate.
That's the thing.
And Ajax seems very interested.
No, Ajax!
You're watching this live, folks. I guess that's what we get for putting our setup on a box. He just needs some catnip and he's good.
As long as you can chill there, it's fine. As long as you're not shaking it, we're good.
Overall, it's really good. When it comes to things like cake and chocolate, you can't really go wrong. My favorite part of it's definitely the texture.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like the best part of the cake pop. That's the best part. Just the nice. Starbucks has the best that I've tried. I think I've only tried Starbucks, but I really like how soft and just creamy it is.
Mm-hmm. I've had homemade cake pops from my my Aunt Mia before, which were around pretty close to Starbucks level quality.
I should get her recipe.
But yeah, I mean it's very tasty. It's a nice way to end a wonderful Valentine's Day with my beautiful, lovely cryptic homemaker.
Can I get a kiss? Can I get a Valentine's Day lipstick kiss? Fuck you! Come here. You have been tainted. That's what you do for love, though. You eat the stuff and you kiss the lips.
Oh no, Ajax is shaking. Well, with shaky camera and all, this is a good time to say goodbye to our fellow viewers.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Good point.